Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. Welcome to the 500th episode of my series. Yep, and it's the 412 Doubleshot. Yep, 500 episodes. Wow. And I got to this in December. Yeah, this is actually the third triple-digit number I hit just this year. I mean, I got this one pretty quickly. I got this one in a matter of just a few months. I think it was just early this year I hit 400. And now before this year ends, and this is my 4th anniversary, like just a couple months after my 4 years of making videos, I hit 500 episodes of this series, which is awesome. I also have another novel review coming up really soon because I'm working on a Star Trek novel right now. I will reveal when I get a chance to get to that particular video what Star Trek book it is, but it's really interesting so far. But yeah, 500 episodes. Wow, this is amazing. You're thinking, oh, what 2 books do I have something special? Okay, one of these books actually is a mini-series that came out just early this year. The other one are issues that came out a little over 20 years ago. There's actually one Marvel trade and one DC trade. The one Marvel trade I got is Guardians of the Galaxy Mother Entrorpy. Yep. This trade collects the entire 5-issue limited series that was released this past May. And here's something interesting though. Marvel hasn't really done this, probably not since 2010, where this is actually quite interesting. They release a limited series weekly. Yes, this is only like the 3rd time that could, for a 5-issue limited series like this. I would say this is the first time since the miniseries Heralds they've actually done this. This is only the 3rd time I can think of they've actually done this, because you also have the only other 2 series I could think of that release weekly, and it was a mini-series, a 5-issue limited series, not a regular weekly ongoing series like they were Wolverines, but I'm talking about a mini-series released over the course of 1 month. Now, the 2 other mini-series they did this for was Heroic Age, 1 Month to Live, and Heralds. Yeah, and that mini-series brought back Frankie Ray for the first time in like almost 20 years, because she got killed off in issue 75 of Silver Surfer. Who was Frankie Ray? She was one of the Heralds of Galactus, and she also took up the name Nova. She is sort of like a female Human Torch in a way, because her powers are somewhat the Human Torch, and she was made a Herald of Galactus back in the 80s. So there's that. But this basically is featured in the movie lineup of the Guardians. Yeah, from what I can tell for this series, because Drax is currently a pacifist in the current series, this probably takes place between the Brian Michael Bendis volume and the start of the Gary Duggan volume. Now, this is written by Jim Starlin, and the artwork is by Alan Davis. Now, as far as I know, this is the 2nd time they've actually done a series together. Actually, scratch this, is the 3rd series done together, because last 2 they did were Hulk vs. Thanos, and they also did the Infinity Effect, I think it is. Yeah, it was a 5-issue mini-series featuring Adam Warlock between a couple of Jim Starlin's Thanos one-shots. Yeah, he released a series of 3 one-shots over the course of the past few years as sort of basically a tie-in to the Avengers movies, basically focusing on Thanos. And of course, a group that is featured there is actually referenced in this particular mini-series. Yep. And also, for some reason, I have to point this out, there's a couple characters drawn like they are in the movies. One, of course, is StarLord. Yep, for some reason, I have no idea why Alan Davis did this. He draws StarLord like Chris Pratt. I am not kidding about this. Yeah, he's drawn like Chris Pratt. Let me check this here. Orange basically this a little wet. I don't think I've reviewed this one already. I just want to be sure about that. Because I'm having this funny feeling I may have revealed this. Nope, I have not reviewed this. I just checked it. I did not review it. So, yeah. And there's one other character in here who is drawn like his movie counterpart. I have to point this out. Look, here's a close-up of StarLord Space. Yeah, that looks like Chris frickin' Pratt. I am not kidding about this. There is one other character. I have to point him out here. Let's see if I can find him here. Let's see, where are you? Here he is. He's one of the Nowhere cops. If I can find a good picture of him. Here we go. He looks like John C. Reilly's character from the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. Yeah. I have no idea why that is. I don't think this is John C. Reilly's character, but he looks exactly like him. Except he's a Nowhere cop. I'm thinking, no, Nowhere cops, that makes no sense. Because according to Bendis' Fine, they're supposed to be Nowhere, supposed to have their own version of the Guardians called the Nowhere Corps. I'm like, where the heck are they in this miniseries? Excuse me. Yeah. I don't know why, but they're not in here at all. I don't think the cover's done by Alan Davis, is it? Yeah, the cover is done by Alan Davis. Well, actually, no. Alan Davis, he does do the artwork. Yeah. There is this creature known as Mother Entrorpy. This is what Mother Entrorpy looks like. And this creature is the main villain of this miniseries. Yeah, apparently this is Fungus Woman. And there's this plague that gets indirectly released by the Guardians. At one point, the Guardians basically even swap bodies. Like, let's see if I remember correctly. Yeah, oh, also, Pip the Troll shows up in here as well. Hooray for Pip the Troll. Because it's Jim Starlin. Pip the Troll's got to show up there someplace. And also, there's one other character who has to keep showing up in all of Jim Starlin's series, aside from Pip the Troll. And even though it's a hallucination, but I count it as a physical appearance by him. Let's see if I can find him here. We have the Mad Titan Thanos. Yep. Because it's Jim Starlin, he has to have him show up. Let me give you a good picture of Pip. Here we go. Here's Pip. Yep. Yeah, it seems that, yeah, with Jason Aaron, it's the Orb. With Jim Starlin, it's Thanos and Pip the Troll because he created these characters. So, why not? So you have this 5-issue miniseries, and at least you have 4 Jim Starlin characters appear in this miniseries. But I will do a comic book history while I do the history of this version of the Guardians, not the future ones. Yeah. So they battle this virus, and they also have an encounter with the Shi'ar. Yep. They have an encounter with the Shi'ar, and it's just Gladiator. Yep. And one thing I point out with this guy, since he first created back in the, I think it was the late 70s during the early Phoenix Saga, this guy has never changed his costume. Not even the 90s when he appeared. He never changed his look. And as far as I know, he's still the Emperor. Yep. He's still the Emperor of the Shi'ar Empire. If you're wondering how he got that at the end of the crossover event War of Kings, where during the course of the event, the previous Emperor at that point, which was Vulcan, who was Scott Summer's second brother, his youngest brother of his 2 brothers that he had, who was married to Deathbird, Leandra's older sister, who basically tried over the years many times to overthrow her sister. He overthrew her, and of course killing several members of the Shi'ar Empire. And at the end of the event, there was this bomb that went off, and it killed not only Vulcan, but also frickin' Black Bolt. Yep. Though Black Bolt was later retconned to be alive thanks to John Hickman. Yep. But, I remember reading this, and, like, it's just me, or does this guy look a lot like frickin' Brainiac? Yeah, he looks like frickin' Brainiac. Even though Brainiac is nowhere in this comic book at all. Yeah, of course, it's Marvel, not frickin' DC. So there's that. But it's a good series, nonetheless, despite the fact that the villain is kind of weak and only appears in one miniseries. It's not a disappointment. Now, why was this miniseries released? It was released in May of this year. The reason is actually quite pure and simple. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out in this past May, so Marvel needed something to promote it. So we had the relaunch of the Guardians of the Galaxy series, which was like the second time it's ever been launched in the course of 2 years. This mini-series and a one-shot. So they had a lot of promotion, basically. They had lots of tie-in material promoting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So there's that. But this is one fun mini-series. Excuse me. If you're a fan of Jim Starlin and Alan Davis, I do recommend this. If you're in the Guardians, yeah, I do recommend this because this kind of bridges the gap in a way of basically what the Guardians were up to. Even though there were some issues of the all-new Guardians of the Galaxy that kind of explain certain things that kind of happen between the end of Bendis' volume and the start of Gary Duggan's volume. This one you can place definitely between that because Drax is still normal Drax and he's not a pacifist. Yep. But, oh, in case you're wondering, is Gamora drawn like Zoe Saldana? No. As a matter of fact, Zoe Saldana doesn't have the eyeshadow at all. Nope, she doesn't. She does not have that at all. Yeah, and that's it. Great miniseries. I give this one a 9 out of 10, despite its weak villain. Yeah, Mother Anthony's kind of weak villain, but yeah. Next up is Superman, Man of Steel, Volume 9. Yeah, this was a trade series. It started collecting stuff from the late 80s, early 90s, basically stuff that John Byrne himself worked on. Now, this basically has stuff written by John Byrne, Jerry Ordway, Roger Stern, and Paul Kupperberg. Yep. And this is by far the first, and so far, one of the very few trades. This is probably the only trade to collect an issue from Paul Kupperberg's run from Doom Patrol. And one of the very few trades overall to release anything related to his stuff he wrote in DC. This trade collects Superman, Volume 2, issues 1922, Adventures of Superman, 441 to 444, Doom Patrol number 10, Volume 2 number 10, and Superman number 2. Now, previously they had included the Action Comics issues in these trades, but for some reason this one decided not to include it for some reason. Now, John Byrne writes he writes the issues of Adventure Comics, Adventure Superman, and he writes Superman. He doesn't write the ending. The ending was done by Roger Stern. And I think Jerry Ordway, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but Jerry Ordway also does... Jerry Ordway, despite listed as one of the writers in here, I think he's the co-writer of Adventures Superman. Let me take a look. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, he basically is the co-writer of Adventures Superman. Also, this has the start of the Supergirl saga. Yeah, it basically explains. This is the post-crisis Supergirl. This is the Matrix Supergirl. Before Kara Zor showed up back in 2000, I believe it was 2003 when she. No, it was 2004 when she finally made her post-Flashpoint post-crisis appearance. This is the first Supergirl. Though here's kind of the weird thing. After her initial ongoing series ended, she disappeared, popped up in one mini-series, hasn't shown since then. Basically, she's an angel from another dimension. Yeah, and they also have the debut of one of the three post-crisis General Zod before the real one shows up. Yeah, and it's an alternate dimension General Zod. Let's see if I can find him here. Let's see, where is he in here? Let's see. I know he's in here someplace. Because if you look at Wikipedia, they have this particular picture on the site because, well, how should I put this? In this alternate world, they have General Zod because apparently there was an editorial mandate they couldn't have any Kryptonians aside from Superman himself. So, yeah, they had to basically have these three alternate versions. Now, here we go. You see this image right here? Yeah, this is actually one of the few times Superman's responsible for killing people. The guy, I believe it's, the guy in the middle is supposed to be, this world's version, General Zod. This is supposed to be Fiora. And I think this guy's supposed to be 9. Yeah. But that's basically the way it is when it comes to that. Yeah, and the first issue in here is just featuring Mixie Mitsuplik. Yep, this fun little guy. Yep. And a lot of these issues are great. If you're wondering why the Doom Patrol issues in here, there's a good reason for that. Because basically the Doom Patrol fought Metallo. And Paul Kipberg was like, hey, Byrne, like, this is probably what happened. Byrne, I'm going to have Metallo show. I'm going to have Metallo show in an issue of Doom Patrol. Would you mind doing a crossover with me for Superman, with the Superman title? And Byrne was probably like, sure, why not? Yep. In case you wonder who does the artwork for Doom Patrol, it's the creator of Savage Dragon, Erik Larson. Yep, he does the artwork. Yeah, let's see if we can find him here. I know he's... let's see, where are you? Yep, this is Erik Larson's artwork from the 1980s. Here's him drawing Metallo. Yep, this is Erik Larson's artwork. Yep, he's also famous not only creating Savage Dragon, of course, his universe. At Marvel, he created... Get this. He created Carnage. He gave Venom his famous tongue. And I think that's it. Though he has worked on other books at Marvel, aside from working on Spider-Man. He also did a volume of Nova. And I believe he did a couple other books in the early... Oh, yeah, he also did the artwork for the second volume of Defenders in the early 2000s. But yeah, he worked on this series briefly. Yep. And plus also we have a guest star appearance by Supergirl villain Reactron, which I think this is his first post-Crisis appearance. But he is a Supergirl villain. There is that. He's actually one of the very few, like, specific Supergirl villains. Yep. That's basically the way it is when it comes to Supergirl. There's also, they had this quick little issue where Superman is briefly losing his powers, and it turns out it's this alien, this guy here. Yep, he's responsible for it. And he not only takes on Superman, he also takes on, and you're not going to believe this, he basically defeats him very easily. He takes on Aquaman, Martian Manhunter. Yes, he takes on Martian Manhunter. And you wonder who else he takes on? The Elongated Man! Yep, Ralph Dibny takes him on too. Yep. Now they do reveal in a quick little three-parter that crosses over with Superman, Adventures of Superman. I think it's a crossover between all three of them. I think it is. Yeah, it's a crossover between these three books. Yeah, it's Superman. Let's see here. I think it's just Superman, Adventures of Superman, where they have this big crossover. Where, yeah, I think it starts with Superman, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I think it does. Yeah, it starts with Superman 21, continues in Adventures of Superman 444, and concludes in Superman 22. Yep. The annual one here, believe it or not, is... And it's like this issue was meant to be a Jack Kirby tribute issue. Because they bring in a bunch of Jack Kirby characters. Yep. Let's see. They bring in... Let's see. They bring up several Jack Kirby characters. We have the Newsboy Legion, who basically are... And it's revealed in this issue that they're clones. Yep. They're all clones of the original ones Jack Kirby created back in the 1940s. Let's see. Who else we got in here? We also have the other DC's Captain America, the Guardian, Jim Harper. Though this is the clone of the original Jim Harper. He's technically considered to be the second Jim Harper. Yeah. Also in the 70s, they had this brief thing where Mal Duncan of the Teen Titans, he was Guardian as well. But they also have one. They also have the Volkswagen, which is a vehicle that Newsboys. From what I heard about them, they did use this thing back in the back during the 70s. Yeah. But there is one other... There's a couple other characters appearing here. One, of course, is Doubleshot. Yep, he is a Jack Kirby character. He first showed up pages of Superman's fellow Jim Yeltsin. The same series where another famous Jack Kirby character showed up, and that was Darkseid. I think he showed up in issue 143. You have to look it up. And who's his character right here? That is Sleaze. He's a character from John Byrne's Action Comics run. Yep. He appeared in a two-parter from Action Comics 592 to 593. And look right there. An editorial note. Yep. And I think this is his first appearance since his two-part story. Yeah, it's his first appearance. But it's a great story. where it's like very much in tune with classic Jack Kirby stuff. It's like Superman in a Jack Kirby story. That's how I put this annual. It's really good. All the issues in here are awesome. I highly recommend. I know that Chris Ventura loves getting these trades, and he loves this particular era of Superman because he's a huge fan of this. I like this too. I may not be a fan of Superman, but these are fantastic stories. Fantastic stories. People are fans of Superman. I highly recommend this. Now, normally I give this rating for classic stories from basically stuff coming from the Golden Age and Silver Age, but I'm gonna give these stories a 10 out of 10. Amazing stuff. Okay. Yep, 10 out of 10. Yeah, I very rarely give it the books basically beyond the Golden and Silver Age because that's basically the modern age of comics since like 1986. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode whenever I get a chance to do it. Will be episode 501. If there's a double shot, it will probably be double shot number 413. Okay, until I see you all on my next episode. Bye.